The Directorate of Environment Affairs is responsible for managing and developing wetlands in Uganda. Welcome onto the show. I am Samalu Kwagonda, program Our Environment. And don't forget, as we are preparing ourselves to celebrate the World Wetlands Day on 2nd February, today we are here to talk about wetlands. I have the Commissioner, Wetland Management, Acting Director, Environment Affairs, Mr. Oloya Collins, onto the show. You're most welcome, sir. Say hello to the viewers.
Thank you very much, the producers. I'm called Collins Oloya, Commissioner for Wetland Management Department, and at the moment I'm holding the portfolio of the Director of Environment Affairs. You are most welcome to this program on environment. I thank you very much for ushering into the new year and also avoiding contracting COVID-19.
First, we're preparing for the day, World Wetland Day, 2nd February, but still Ugandans do not know the importance of wetlands. I'm glad that I'm with you, Mr. Oloya. First, tell us what is the current situation right now with the wetlands?
Viewer, Uganda's wetland is under a very big threat. And in 1994, up to date, we have lost 4.1% of Uganda's wetlands. In 1994, when we did the first survey, wetland coverage was 15.6% of the land area of Uganda. It reduced to 10.9% in 2008. Now it has reduced to 8.9 as I talk right now. Through survey done in 1994, survey done in 2009, survey recently done last year, that is the status of wetlands. So we have lost 4.1% of Uganda's wetlands, which can be transformed into 9,885 square kilometer of wetlands, which has been lost. In terms of percentage, we have lost 44% of Uganda's wetland, well above the global loss of wetlands, which is standing at 35. So Uganda is at a very difficult situation. By region, Eastern region has the highest, the greatest percent of degradation by 40%, followed by Central Uganda at 26%, Northern Uganda at 18%, then Western region is at 17%. By districts, Manapa district in Eastern Uganda has lost 99.4% of its wetlands, followed by Bali at 93.7% and Kabale in Western Uganda by 87%. Some of the most degraded wetlands in Uganda, which Uganda would like to know, is Ruizi in Western Uganda, Nyakafufa in Western Uganda, Songe and Muzizi in Western Uganda. In Northern Uganda, Enyao in Arua, Okole in Apache and Lira, Aswa in Gulu, Pade, etc., etc. In Eastern Uganda, the most degraded wetlands are Namatala, Limoto, Kibimba, Lumbuye, Okok, Kaputh, all in Eastern Uganda. In Central Uganda, we have Seziva wetlands, Wamala, Kinawataka near Asia, Nakivubu, Lumansi in Central Uganda. So those are the status of wetlands in Uganda. I've told you that the highest loss is in Eastern Uganda and the lowest loss is in Western Uganda.
And of course in Central?
Central follows the percentage of wetlands lost. Yeah.
Why is it that way, most especially in Central?
In Central, the greatest factor affecting wetland loss is conversion to agriculture and horticultural farms, and also expansion of urban and industrial and unsettled and planned settlements is the major cause of wetland degradation in Central Uganda. While in Eastern Uganda, the greatest factor which accelerates wetlands degradation is agriculture, especially growing the rice and sugarcane is the major cause in Eastern Uganda.
Okay, so what are the major threats to these wetlands?
The major threat to this wetland is that there is a negative mindset of Ugandans. We Uganda, we think wetland is wasteland. ignoring the services which wetlands provide to us in terms of recharging or discharging clean water free of cost for our rural people to drink without boiling, and also to regulate the floods, which are very common. If wetland is there, then it will absorb and release it slowly and will not get the effect of the floods. And also the carbon sequestration. You know, we are signatory to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. We are supposed to reduce the release of carbon dioxide, and much of this carbon dioxide is sequestered or stored in intact wetlands. So those are the causes and the benefits of wetlands. So growing of eucalyptus also contribute about 0.9%, but expansion of agriculture is at 94.2% of wetland degradation, followed by industrial expansion and unplanned settlement, which accounts for 4.9% of wetland degradation. And of course, there is a total disregard to the existing law with impunity, where rich people, even after issuing compliance, improvement notice and restoration, they still ignore and go ahead to degrade wetlands. So those are the major cause of wetland degradation.
But now, what is the cost of degrading these wetlands?
The cost of this degrading wetland is divided into about three different major factors. One is socio-cultural. So when you degrade the wetlands socially, the cost of degrading wetlands can lead to approximately 5 million Ugandans in rural areas losing access to clean water for drinking freely. This is water which is drawn by our mothers, by our sisters, whenever they are near the wetlands.
Yes.
So about 5 million Ugandans are going to be exposed to diseases which are caused by dirty water. And also, loss of wetland may also lead to escalated water use conflict. You know, we have boreholes, shallow wells, unprotected wells, and these are concentration for both animals and the wetland dwellers. So if that source of water is what disappears because of degradation of wetlands, then you see a lot of land use and water use conflicts. You will see conflicts between human beings and the animals, including wildlife, including domestic animals, and also conflicts within the women who are fetching water. They might fight because they cannot get water.
But
so
I think
it is
that
wetlands which will reduce that.
That is to the lowest,
so
to the lowest percentage.
Loss of wetlands also lead to loss of our identity. You know, we identified with the crested crane, that is belegramly grown in scientific name. So this one, our grandfathers and our administrator identified the cranes as our identity, totem for Uganda. So this crane roost exclusively in seasonal wetlands. So when you now degrade the wetlands, it means you are destroying Uganda as a state. Because that crane, which makes us proud of that I'm Uganda in our national flag, even the army they have, the police they have, it means if you destroy the wetlands where this
cranes.
the cranes multiply, then we have lost our identity as Uganda. That's the first thing which Uganda has to defend, because we are not protecting wetlands just only for water, but for the identity which we have created using the crane. So wetlands also increases incidence of flooding. I've talked about that. You can see when it has flooded, you cannot cross what? 3rd Street, because the wetlands of Nakivubu and the upstream have been degraded. So when it rains, because of the paved surface in Kampala, you see the amount of water just rushing. There's nothing to control, to regulate the speed. So the floods you get in Kiambo as you are going, the floods you get to Matuga as you are going to northern Uganda, is because of interference and the drainage of those wetland systems. Not only that, economically, the cost of degrading wetlands leads to the loss of incomes and employment for over 4 million Ugandans who are absorbed directly indirectly in the use of wetlands. So when the wetlands disappear, you count that we are going to create unemployment for 4 million people, and also Uganda is losing $4.9 billion as a result of degrading wetlands. So our GDP is reduced by that. If we degrade all the wetlands, in Uganda, that is the total cost, which if you translate in Uganda shillings, around 15 trillion Uganda shillings will not be there, and our economy will stagnate. So you can see the contribution of wetlands in Uganda. Ecologically, the loss of wetlands,
Yes.
because wetlands mitigate and adapt to the impact of climate change. So when you destroy the wetlands, I say we are party to
disorganizing the climate as well.
So when we destroy, we are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and yet we are signatory to that framework convention. So those are the problem which is associated with the loss of wetlands in Uganda. Briefly,
who are responsible to all the destroying of wetlands in Uganda?
There are a number of categories of Ugandans, not only Uganda, the people who are staying in Uganda at the moment, and together with the citizens. They're into many categories. The poor, they simply go to the wetlands to get an alternative, to trace where moisture or water has gone during dry season. So they end up by opening the wetland. This one is not serious. Because of their ignorance and lack of alternatives, they can do that.
That is the smallest percentage.
They are the rich. Very rich Ugandan citizens.
Sure.
They would just go and start pouring in, filling and compacting wetlands because factories, they have funds, you see factories, and plant settlement just springing up in the wetlands. So those are the categories. And also we have some investors who are coming here.
True.
They want cheap land, and they think the cheapest land they can get is to
reclaim
the wetlands and construct building, arcades, industrial parks. Those are the main causes of wetlands were lost in Uganda.
And as the Directorate of Environmental Affairs, what have you done to this kind of people who don't know the importance of the wetlands? Every category.
What the Department of Wetland is doing under the Directorate is, one, institutionally and using policy, we are finalizing and operationalizing the National Wetland Resources Management Bill of 2021. Because at the moment, one of the reasons why people are degrading wetlands, it doesn't have a specific law. The law is there in the Constitution. The law is there in the National Environment Act.
Yes.
The law is there in the National Land Act. But there's no specific wetlands law which, with stringent measures and penalties to ensure that there is compliance to all the provisions and the penalties which is supposed to be meted on the suspected.
Are there penalties?
Yeah, there are penalties for degrading wetlands. That's why we have to develop a specific law and combine all the segments of the law scattered in the many laws of Uganda, which I've talked about. And we are also planning to recruit and train. You know, government approved 600 environment protection force.
Yes.
This has not been recruited and trained. What we are using at the moment, we are using about 200 environment protection police unit. It's a police, is not a police meant for ensuring the wetlands in Uganda is protected. So we would like to get fund, recruit, train and deploy at least 600 in all districts of Uganda and the regions to enforce the law and intensify surveillance, crime investigation and enforcement. Now, the Minister of Water and Environment, Minister of Land, Housing and Urban Development, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs coded all the 8 wetland basins and have prepared gazettement instrument to gazette all wetlands as natural infrastructure, where all the 475 primary wetlands, those are the major wetlands. If you follow the road going to the west, you get Katonga. That's a primary wetland. You follow to the east, you get Pologoma, Seziba. Those are primary wetlands. Then we have secondary. The secondary are the branches. Then we have tertiary, the small branches. So in total, we have 475 system, which has to be gazetted with the coordinates and the maps to show that this is a wetland. It's a form of protected land use for Uganda not to interfere with. Now, we are also integrating wetland issues into the National Development Plan. We have done that.
Yeah.
We are now engaging the 146 district local government and 54 urban councils to integrate wetlands management into their development plans. So that's what we are doing. We are also providing technical support and support supervision to district to do the right wetlands conservation in line with the policy and the regulation. And we are also engaging Ministry of Finance to increase on the district conditional grant for wetlands management. If this is done, you will see very little wetland degradation taking place, because a district will make sure that I have the fund to go and enforce. If I find that you are a degrader, you are arrested, taken to resident state attorney, then you are taken to court. So that's what we are doing at the moment.
When you say the biggest percentage that the richest people destroying or degrading all these wetlands, that means these penalties are not working to save the wetlands.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's what we realized when we were reviewing. We moved all over Ugandans to get their views, and they indicated we should get a stringent penalty, whereby if you are caught degraded wetlands and you are convicted, you will be able to not pay less than 50 million or being in the cell for at least 5 years.
Does it work also to the people, these mothers who go fetch water in case
the law does not discriminate. So when it comes into force, depends on the gravity of the matters.
Okay.
Yeah, and the warning, natural justice, which has been given to you, we give a lot of warning, improvement notice, restoration order. If you fail, we restore. The cost incurred in restoring the wetlands will be meted on you by a court, and you will be forced to pay that cost. So the penalties varies, but the heaviest which I can remember is that not less than 50 million for you to pay for degrading a piece of wetlands, or staying in the cell for the next 5 years.
What are the interventions of saving these wetlands as a department under the Directorate of Environmental Affairs?
Some of I see socially. Socially, we are undertaking wetlands inventory and valuation to get the true values of wetlands, so that we are able to present this case to Ministry of Finance. Look here, if you destroy this wetland, this is amount of money you will lose, and will reduce the GDP by this percentage. So that is what we are doing in order to get more funds from Ministry of Finance. We are also continuing with targeted awareness to all categories of stakeholders to mobilize them for participation in modern wetlands management technology for income generation and employment of the youth. We are supporting community adjacent to the wetlands with alternative livelihood enhancement income generation enterprise to enable them cope up with the negative effects of the climate change.
Yes.
Now, ecologically, we are undertaking wetland biodiversity assessment to establish the status, disseminate the report, and produce national wetland reports every 2 years. And these figures, which have been stating, it is from National Wetland Reports 2020. We are also demarcating and restoring the wetland section, which has been degraded. As I said, we are gazetting wetland as a reserve. You know, road reserve, wildlife reserve,
yes,
forest reserve. So we are going to gazette and reserve the wetlands so that nobody can tamper with the wetlands. When somebody does, we have the law and the instrument to say you have broken this law, this section number, this.
How have you involved the youth in the fighting of saving the wetlands?
We are involving the youth in several fronts, because we know it is through them where wetlands can be safe. And they are the people who can actually degrade wetlands more than any other. So we are involving them, we are mobilizing in awareness raising, forming wetlands club at school, forming wetlands group for awareness raising, creating NGOs for wetlands management headed by youth, and also practically are getting involved in the restoration exercise. When we are going to restore maybe 1,000 hectares of wetlands in Gulu or in Arua, we mobilize through the council the youth to go and take part in showing the boundary and demarcating with pillars and beacons and also all live word markers. So they are the one who actually carry and demarcate. They are the one who gets involved in closing the channel created by the degraders. So that's how we involve the youth.
As you're winding, tell us about the World Wetlands Day that's going to happen on 2nd February.
Viewer, Uganda, as a signatory to the Ramsar Convention of Wetland, will join the rest of the international community to commemorate the World Wetland Days on the 2nd February 2020 under the global theme Wetlands Action for People and Nature. So all this, what I've been talking about, the restoration, these are the wetland action to recover wetlands. You don't recover wetlands for people only, but the nature also, the fauna, the crested crane, as I've talked about, also what needs the service. So this theme actually said that we should take action for both ourselves as human beings and for the existence of nature, which are dependent on wetland existence, for example, water, etc., etc. So World Wetland Day is celebrated each year on the 2nd of February to raise awareness about wetlands. This day also marks the anniversary of the Convention of Wetlands, which was adopted in Ramsar City in 1974. Then Uganda rectified it in 1989. So we are part and parcel of this Ramsar Convention. So why the World Wetlands Day? Nearly 90% of the world's wetlands have been degraded since 1700, and we are losing wetland 3 times faster than forest. Yet wetlands are critically important ecosystems that contribute to biodiversity, climate change mitigation and adaptation, freshwater availability, and the world economies. So it is very urgent that we raise national and global awareness about wetlands in order to reverse the negative trends. So World Wetlands Day is the ideal time to increase people's understanding of this critically important ecosystem, to increase the appreciation of the benefits and dangers of the degrading wetlands. So the themes for today, as I say, wetland action for people and nature is the theme. The day will be graced with a series of activities that include 1, youth voice dialogue. We have mobilized youth because they are our future manager to dialogue on why we are conserving wetlands. We are going to have spot messages in the media, and it's already ongoing. We are going to DSTV. Then we are preparing the World Wetland Day songs compositions, which talks about the need for conserving wetlands. We are now using music to put our points across to different stakeholders. So in 2005, Afrigo made a very nice song for World Wetlands Day. So we keep on doing the same day so that we play it back on the radio, on the TV. We also have seminars which are ongoing. There's nature walks, which is going to start in Masaka. Then exhibitions, then talk shows, which this one is one of them, etc., etc. The venue is Gayaza Playground in Masaka City. Masaka City is going to be accredited as the Ramsar City in Uganda. In other words, the wetland city. You know, Fort Portal is tourism city. So Masaka City, because they have really done all it takes to conserve the wetlands in wetland.
So we call upon everyone to participate?
Yes.
And is everyone allowed to participate?
No, everybody is allowed to participate, to enjoy yourself, to go and exhibit technologies which conserves wetlands, technology which reduces dependence on wetlands. So the message which I would like viewers to take back home is that value wetlands for the multiple benefits and nature-based solutions they provide for human well-being and for your health. That is the first message you take home to your children, that you have to avoid wetland for that purpose. The second message I would like you to take home is wetlands can be used them sustainably so that we can maintain this ecosystem for the present and future generation. We don't stop you from using wetland, but use appropriate technology which does not fill up the wetlands, makes the wetland continue existing and providing the services of clean water, reducing the flood, contributing to economic growth. That's the message you have to take. The third and the last message: participate in the restoration of the lost and degraded wetlands to revive the rich biodiversity for ecotourism.
Okay.
You know, we are starting so many ecotourism, wetlands-based ecotourism in the major wetlands in Uganda.
And that too.
So in this fiscal year, we are going to establish 4. One in the central, one in the north, one in the east, then one in the west. So viewers, this is the message from Commissioner Wetlands Management Department to mark the World Wetlands Day on the 2nd of February 2022 in Masaka, Gayaza playground. You are most welcome, and you are most welcome. Thanks.
Let's all fight to stop this biggest mindset that we have, the negativity that we have towards the wetlands, because as we destroy the wetlands, we are destroying nature, and that will destroy our lives as well. I am Samalu Kwago, and I've been with Mr. Aloya Collins, Commissioner Wetland Management. Thank you so much, sir, for the time, and I hope Ugandans, you've heard, on 2nd February 2022, please come and join us. We participate with stopping with fighting for our wetlands, because indeed we need them. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Samalu Kwago, and hope you are staying safe. Hope you are sanitizing by following the SOPs. And to the viewers, we promise that we are back, and we're here to teach you more about the environment. Thank you so much.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butego.
Yikwa dola winikune. Awasoka muriyo. Atekeri na itesa ibija sesi.